Hey everyone, today I'm in Perkins, Oklahoma at the Perkins Cemetery. And I'm going to show you someone who's important and interesting to Oklahoma. And I guess you could say other places as well. Let's take a look. So this is the person that we came here to see. Frank B. Eaton. And if you're from out of the state, you might not know who he is. And even if you're in the state, you might not know who he is, but he's known as Pistol Pete. Oklahoma State University uses him as a mascot, and it goes way back. Francis Boardman Eaton, better known as Frank Eaton, was born October 26, 1860 in Hartford, Connecticut. The family joined the rush of people homesteading in Kansas in 1868. At this time, Frank was 8 years old, and he saw his father gunned down in the moonlight by a lawless gang of Southerners who called themselves the Regulators. He soon acquired a pistol and began practicing his shot as well as molding his own bullets. He became an expert at point firing and was said to be able to hit anything with either hand. At the age of 15, Frank went to Fort Gibson, Oklahoma to see what the 6th Cavalry soldiers could teach him. He ended up outshooting everyone there, and the commander of the fort gave him a badge for his marksmanship as well as a new nickname, Pistol Pete. Frank then learned where 2 of his father's killers were living, and he went after them. Frank shot Shannon Campsey dead on the porch of his cabin. Nearby, he found Doc Ferber working cattle and once again proved his shooting skills by shooting him dead on the spot. Both of these men were cattle thieves, and because of his actions, he was hired as a detective for the Cattlemen's Association. Within months, he shot and killed more of his father's killers. 2 were brothers he challenged at once, Jim and John Campsey. In 1885, Frank then became a scout in the fight against Geronimo and the Apaches. Afterwards, he returned to Indian Territory where he served as a deputy U.S. Marshal under Isaac Parker, the hanging judge. With the help of Pat Garrett, Frank learned where his father's final remaining killer was located in 1887. It was Wiley Campsey, and he was tending bar in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Frank entered the bar and ordered Campsey to fill his hand. Frank then shot him twice through the heart as he reached for his gun under the bar. The 2 guards there wounded Frank, shooting him in the leg and the left arm. Garrett then helped Frank escape and saw to it that he received help. In 1889, Frank purchased a claim west of Perkins, Oklahoma, and married Orpha Pearl Miller in 1890. They had 2 daughters, and Orpha died in 1902, leaving Frank a widower with 2 small daughters. He then married Anna Rosetta in 1903 and moved to 119 East Chantry in Perkins, Oklahoma during the 1920s. Together they had 8 children. People in Perkins said that Frank preferred to be barefoot rather than in boots. They were often amazed how he would pick up red-hot pieces of metal with his toes or walk barefoot on a hot steam engine. Frank was once asked why he had long hair, and he replied, "If girls are going to cut their hair off, I'll let mine grow." People would often pay him visits and listen to the stories and witness his lightning-quick draw. In 1923, students at the Oklahoma A&M College, which is now Oklahoma State University, drew Frank as a school's mascot. He became the original cowboy and a living symbol of OSU until his death. From 1950 to 1956, Frank wrote a weekly column for the Perkins Journal titled Truthful Pete Says, and later it was changed to Pistol Pete Says. The stories consisted of his philosophy of life, humorous incidents, and recollections of the frontier days. In 1952, he wrote his own autobiography, and he also made several television appearances. While speaking to a history class at OSU, Frank demonstrated his fast draw and accidentally discharged his weapon. They asked him why he would carry a loaded gun, and he replied, "By George, I'd rather carry a pocket full of rocks than an empty gun." Today, a plaque marks the location of where the bullet hit the wall in the Student Union basement. Frank always received letters and mail from all over the world. He prided himself on never failing to answer a single letter. He died in his sleep on April 8, 1958, at the age of 97. After his death, his revolver with 11 notches, holster, hat, boots, pocket watch, fiddle, and other effects were given to a Wichita businessman in exchange for a headstone for Frank. These items were loaned to OSU in 1965 and displayed in a glass case on the 3rd floor of the Student Union. It was at that location where they were all stolen, and the items were never recovered. His rifle ended up in a Tulsa pawn shop in 1969. It was purchased from a Michigan gun dealer in 1987 and is currently on display at the Eaton home in Perkins, Oklahoma. Something many people might not realize is that Pistol Pete is used at several other schools. The University of Wyoming uses Pistol Pete, but he's got different colors. The drawing is almost the same though, but his physical mascot is a little different there at that school. Relatively similar though. Also, the New Mexico State University used a Pistol Pete mascot. This is the physical form here. And then the drawing is almost similar, just different colors once again. Now that mascot has changed due to a kind of sort of a lawsuit / agreement that the two schools have. So now he's a real human being character that rides on a horse. Now, one other school that uses Pistol Pete is Cooper City High School in Florida. He was formerly known as Lasso Larry, but he is Pistol Pete and the drawing is the same. Now, their physical mascot is a little bit different, yet a little similar, but pretty cool looking that so many schools use them. One other school that almost seems odd to have it as a mascot is Maiho University in Thailand. Now this is in agreement with Oklahoma State University, and they gave them permission to use the exact colors and everything. The mascot looks a little different. This is the only picture that I could find online, but basically the two universities are partnering together on farming and different things like that with the land. So thanks for joining me as we visited the final resting place of Pistol Pete. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next time.